Is this working?
Yeah, serving an ad right now.
Oh, weird. What kind of ads does it show?
It's serving The Boys from Amazon Prime.
It's giving The Boys.
Do you know that show?
No, I'm just making fun of It's Giving that thing.
It's a pretty good show. It's like a violent Avengers Marvel type show. It's kind of fun.
Oh, nice.
You're
Hey,
sharing a screen right now.
well, I know. I want to retweet the thing.
Okay, just don't show anything confidential.
All right. Okay. See, this is where, like, now everything is just insanely slow. I'll just X out of this shit after. I guess I could just do this on my phone. I'll just do that. Yeah, I don't know how to. This will just start here. Okay. Excellent.
Going well so far. Excellent.
Do you want to tell the Discord or something? Is that what you do now, or you already
Yeah,
did?
yeah, yeah. We might have an issue. Hey, stop giving us great content. Ben likes our chat already.
Oh, nice. Okay. Maybe a little Instagram story.
Lancey Moses. I know he's in the Twitch VC. Probably just gonna do Q&A me and Twitch chat. Just keep it easy.
Sure. Yo, I'm live on my Twitch right now. I'm going through the sessions for I'm a Mess featuring Lancey Foux. Show you all my secrets and take any questions you have about anything. It's twitch.tv slash, yo, so convenient. All right, cool. How we doing? Should I just start? Is anybody here?
Oh yeah, they can't hear you. They can't hear me for some reason.
Oh, weird. Oh, well, yeah, hang on. I can fix that. Hang on.
It's okay.
Uh,
You don't need to because I can just read the question.
no, it's weird, though, to have me talking to some silent fucking person. All right, here we go. Sorry that everyone has to see this. I don't have a better way to do it. Output, black hole. Talk now.
Hello.
Look at that. Wow. It's working.
Excellent.
Look at that. We got 2
Ben
viewers.
Blank
This is
says
crazy.
yes, sir. You got 6 on my end.
Oh, fucking A. Well, I'll just get into it, I guess. I mean, basically, this is kind of the opposite of one of those situations where I'm in a. By the way, if anyone has questions at any point, feel free to weigh in. I can't see them, though, because I don't have a second screen. So you'll just have to tell me if someone asks something, I guess. Right?
Yeah, I'll read them out then.
Okay, yeah. So basically, for I'm a Mess, um, and for the way that a lot of the songs come together is like, I'm not. There isn't like a single session that just has everything. Where I like from beginning to end made the song. Like the way this actually happened is, I did a session with this dude Franz Mernick, and and a songwriter, I guess. Actually, the writer wasn't even there the first day. So it was really just me and him. We started this idea. I had the title on the mess. I wrote the lyrics and melody. He did a track. I maybe filled in some stuff. Then I took that session from him. I'll just show it in order. I'll just show it exactly how it went down. So this session here, this is just something I opened up while I was in the studio with Franz, and he was like working on the song. And I was just like, okay, what's the tempo? Okay, it's 165. You can see it up here. And I just kind of was like, all right, let me just add some strings too, just to make it feel more like my shit right from the jump, which is something I'm not even doing as much anymore. But at the time, I really was just like, I need to hear it that way before I'll even really be able to get into it. So I just was like syncing my Logic up with his thing by like pressing play at the same time as him and just adding different sounds. So here's what everything I did sounds like. So it's in a different key. I changed the key of the song later, but you can hear those are the chords, so I'm a mess. This stayed in the song. Like that's still
People
in
can't
there.
hear anything.
They can't hear anything?
Yeah. Did we maybe change the output into
Let me
Discord?
try it.
And
Oh yeah, you're right. I did. Hang on, let's fix it. This is good. This is why we're learning everything. All right, let me play it. Let me play the whole thing again. So here's everything. Better, right?
hold on.
We're good now, right?
Yep, good now.
All right, cool. So this
Excellent.
is the stem I was saying that you can hear this in the end of the final song. You know, so that got used. But like I sent him all this other shit. Like this didn't get. I mean, I think I was just kind of like, here's some stems you can have, you know, that are like in the same progression and key of the song. I'm gonna eject my hard drive too, just to make sure I'm really running the leanest possible shit I can. Okay, good. All right, cool. So yeah, I mean, if you want that exact piece of audio, I mean, I've shown this process before on my like fucking TikTok and stuff, but this is just from this. Which is for a song called Elevator that I never even put out. And that was, you know, and then I just sort of like chopped it to the key of the song. Did I have to pitch it up? Yes, I did, up 2.5 steps. And then I just kind of do the fades as much as I can and kind of just stock Logic delay. And I usually compress it after the, yeah, it's so slow to open anything while I'm streaming this, but it's just fucking Logic delay, man. Stereo delay. And then I compress it after the delay so it like really crushes that together and just kind of fills in all the gaps that come from chopping this up. So it sounds pretty continuous. Sounds kind of fake. Or just like you can hear the chop, but I could probably do it better if I needed to. But this is just supposed to be a placeholder and then end up in the final song anyway. Someone needs to mute themselves.
Yeah, sorry. I just wanted to call out that Ben Blank subbed. He's your first sub ever.
Wow, thanks. I think that made it into the final song. It was following a synth melody that he had in there. This pluck, I don't know if this did. Right. These are MIDI instruments, but they're made from audio I tracked from like other sessions of. So it's all like I'm not using stock Logic sounds for any of it, or any. I don't think that's in the final song. Yeah, it doesn't follow it at all. I must just pull that in there and then decide not to use it. Anyway, yeah. So that was just sort of. Oh, I think this harp is in the final one. Actually, this is just stock MIDI harp. I love the sound of low harp. It just has all these weird overtones. Yeah, that's in the final song. Anyway, this is not in the key of the final song, though. So anyway, yeah, so I sent him those stems. He continued working on the session, and then I had a bounce of it from his session. And then probably a week later, I was like, yo, I really want to work on this more. Why don't you just send me the stems? Actually, that's not even really what happened, because we did a session a couple months later and worked on lyrics, and then finally I was like, all right, just send me the stems. I'm going to work on the session. And we'll open that up now. So this is the big one. I think it maybe went to my friend Nate after that, actually, who mixes and masters everything for me. So he usually has like the master session of everything. But let's just see. I think it would be this one, Minimalistic. Let's check it out.
Oh, Poppy also subscribed. You have 2 subscribers
wow,
now. So
you
shout
guys
out
are
to
crazy.
Poppy and Ben.
Wow. Is that all? We've only been able to do that since like this week?
Yeah, the partnership finally went through. So now you have a sub button. It's very exciting.
Fuck. Incredible. Okay, yeah. So okay. So then the session from Franz went to my guy Nate, who like has the whole album. He's the one that has everything because he mixes and masters it, and he like tracks my vocals usually. I don't know if I'm gonna do that again on the next album because he's gotten busy with other shit. But like that was kind of he's credit on everything I do, and so usually I was just having it in his hands as early as possible, and then I would keep messing with it and just sending stuff back and forth with Nate. So I don't even have the drum stems for this song. I literally don't have them. And none of the like 9 sessions I have there are there. All I have, so like the next step, the next time it came back to me, it was Nate's version. I just told him to print the drum stem, and here's. There is one session I skipped actually that was where like I added a couple of those drum sounds in myself. I guess I could show you that if you want. Should I do that, or should I just keep going with this one? I can pull it up in a second. And then I had him do a bass stem. I usually just say like, yo, I'm gonna mess with the arrangement a bit. Just send me the drums, like a drum stem, a bass stem, a music stem, and a vocal stem. So here's music. It's kind of quiet. I guess I can just throw a limiter on this. Wow, everything is so slow. So that's your bass stem, obviously. Let's see, what else? I guess maybe I had him do... Oh, the strings he broke down in all these different tracks. Let's just see what the fuck is here. So there you can see I added the bass clarinet. There's actually a whole other session that I'm not even showing you that has that stuff in there that where I tracked all that. That's like 3 tracks of bass clarinet, and I did the whole album in one session. It was like measure 2,560, but so that was where it really went to it. I added this staccato cello at this point, and just each one of these notes was chopped. Every single one of those is just a chop. Eventually I like replayed it live, but I think some of that stuff's still in there. So yeah, you can just see literally I'm just finding the take that's like of a note that's closest to the one I needed from just like old audio. And then add a couple notes here. And like you can see I'm starting to kind of mute. Like you can see this is his drum stem, but I've muted it here. So it's like up at the top, you can see over here. This is like, I'm just like, oh, maybe there should be a break where it's no drums and we just hear the cello. And that's still in the song, I think, when the verse first comes in. Don't call a cop, but it's a crisis. Don't know how to stop when it's a night shift. Slurring my words and right, so that was like when I made the decision. You can see even here I was like messing with like maybe I want to have cello the whole way through the verse. I was like, no, it'd be even more dramatic to just have vocals and then cello. I don't even think that's how it is in the final one, but that's a version. You can also hear that's probably the like 5th attempt at the vocal there. And now we're still in the old key, and I'm just like, that was when I was still singing like Mike Posner and shit. And I don't usually show people that, but this is a special glimpse. What else do we got here?
Yeah.
I just...
Yep. I'm a mess.
I think I was like inspired by like Frank Ocean, who just has like random ambient talking and reverby shit, and I just thought it would help messy it up. It's like in there still, but you can't really hear it because there's so much in these tracks. None of those auto-tune things. I was thinking like Travis Scott and shit like that. Just stuff like that would help. This is just super high-endy. You can see all the way to the end of my screen, right? Like to the left, you can see these plugins I'm showing you. Tune. Yeah, just a ton of delay, really. It's nothing, it's hard to... Yeah, that's with nothing. It's not that bad, but once you get them. That's a good trick if you can't sing, is like you can kind of make anything sound good if you just throw enough tune, just like smear through the tune and let the tune kind of find the melodies a little bit.
I
Stuff
am
like
Dead
that.
Roses asks, why Waves tune and not auto tune?
Because I'm
Does
cheap.
it correct differently?
I think it's kind of worse, actually. I'm just cheap, to be totally honest. I used to have auto-tune when I had a cracked version, and now I don't think anybody's able to get the new one cracked. And just for the longest time, I was using cracked auto-tune, and then I didn't. Some of the vocals, again, like I said, I have this dude Nate finishing this shit anyway, so it's like he'll probably just, I guess I don't know. I mean, I guess if I track it with an engineer, it'll be auto-tune, and then he'll get that with the tune printed. If I track it with him, it'll be... He didn't have auto-tune actually for a long time either. He had like some other shit. He would just melodine it, really. He would just melodine the whole thing really aggressively and then throw it through like a really cheap pitch corrector, which is kind of what I do. But in this case, like, it's like I don't fucking care. Like that's just a fucking ad lib, you know. The lead isn't. I don't really have the session for the lead. Although actually there might be. We might find that later when we get into the later session that I may have actually done the final lead on my own, and then yeah, so it is just Wave Tune. But yeah, man, just cheap.
Poppy gifted a sub, and Angie got it. So you now have 3 subs.
Holy shit! Thanks, man. Incredible. So this is. I'm gonna show you. This is like another thing I just do randomly, like this hiss here. That's just from like an iPhone demo somebody had sent me of a song a while back that was just really shitty and it had all this hiss on it. I just sometimes like the feeling of, you know, you could do like RC20 or whatever, but this is just my like bootleg ass way of just saying I wanted this opening to sound like a sample, and so I wanted it to have like hiss in it that then just goes away as soon as that opening happens. So you have like
Yeah.
you feel me? So it's like it ends up adding to the sense that it's like chopping out of that even further because it's just like it just makes it feel like this monumental thing that just keeps coming back and that comes from a different world in the music. And so you can just see the hiss just tracks every time that thing shows up. You can see it goes with the bass clarinet. I'm not really sure why it's not here, but yeah, you sort of get the idea. And then you can just see again, like lots of these sort of cuts is really what I was working on at this point, and that's why I had this. I was just like, maybe we just cut the strings here, right? So the cello, so you can see this over here. This I keep pointing the string with my finger and realizing you can't see it, but use my cursor. So yeah, and then the fuck is this? Oh yeah, that's from Throwback Thursday. The woodwinds come in there. Let's see what that sounds like. Man, everything, it's just, I click on something, I have to wait like 5 seconds for it to react. Panned all the way left, that's
Freddie,
nice. Yeah,
Freddie subscribed with Prime, so you now have 4 subscribers.
Jesus, thank you. What a fucking legend. I appreciate you guys. What's this shit? Let's see.
Trying to go hit up the lake shit. Say this party, it looks amazing. Keep all the energy wasted. No, I can't hold a conversation. Head in the cloud, I'm in the zone now.
That's not even on the song anymore. That's just, you can see I'm automating Little Altar Boy and just automating the formant.
Trying to go hit up the lake shit. Say this party, it looks amazing. Keep all the energy wasted. No, I can't hold a conversation. Head in the cloud, I'm in the zone now.
Yeah, that verse got cut entirely. As soon as I had Lancey's part, this happened on every single song. There's a second verse to You Up. There's a second verse to No One Gets Me. Well, that one's still on there. But there's a second verse to Get My Shit Together, which is about to come out. And then there's a second verse here. And there's a second verse to Phases. All of them I cut to just put in the person that I ended up getting on it. So yeah, I mean, that kind of covers like what's in this session. Oh, yeah, yeah. And then this thing, which is from a completely different song, is still on the end of the song. That's you can hear I'm going. Thought I grew up, but it ain't gonna happen. It's in another song on the album still. It's called "What Happening" actually now. But that, you know, so I'm just, this is sort of the stage where I'm just trying to make the decisions to just make it weirder and take a thing that was largely like I could probably just extend all these tracks and play for you what it sounds like. It's way more continuous. But you can just see I'm like making all these decisions to sort of cut stuff and then, you know, bring it in and really try to focus what thing is playing when by muting stuff. And I think it actually did end up being a significant part of what the final arrangement is. So this is the biggest session. I'm going to get rid of this. And then I'm just going to open up a couple of different things here real quick. Let's see. Sorry to make you look at this. Okay, so let's see. I'm a mess, Franz. Let's check this out. This might have been the second session. I'm going back in time real quick for a second just to show you one other. This is like a second. Pretty sure this is what I think it's going to be. Look at how slow it is. It's fucking killing me. Yeah. Oh.
You have a hype train going on right now. Glass Tempo also subscribed with Prime. So shout out to Glass Tempo.
Wow. Fucking A. Thanks, man. Shout out Glass Tempo. I appreciate you guys. Seriously. I'm gonna do a lot of this. I guess now I really have to do them since you're paying monthly and not per time I do it, right?
Ben Blanks gifted a sub.
Fucking A. The peer pressure is
Hype
real.
train.
How many people are here?
11.
It's not bad. The real ones. This is what happens when you don't promise people the chance of playing their own music. You lose 90% of people. This was just something I did in the session with Franz too. I think I was just like, yo, send me a bounce of it real quick. And then he just sent me the instrumental up here. And then I think that's from like a DJ Mustard pack. What's this one? I think same thing. I think there's just a bunch of those. Almost positive that's where they're from. It might be from something else. Just some shitty ass, you know. That's a scream from like a YouTube video that I found. You actually might know it because it was like a viral video many years ago that was like, it's just this dude laughing really hard at something. I think he's like streaming in the video maybe, but the laugh is just this like, it just sounds like a blood curdling scream because he just keeps laughing in this like more and more insane kind of like pitch of his voice. And I just chopped it up in all these screams that I use in songs now. So that's from there. This is just from this loop. I do this a lot. I don't even know what that is. I might have made that loop actually from other loops, but anyway, yeah. And then this clank actually is in the song to this day. And I think that maybe just started out as like a fucking like Logic like anvil sound or cowbell probably, and then printed some verb on it or. Anyway, yeah. So I can just see I'm just throwing stuff at the wall, but I just love not being the one finishing it. So I'm sort of trying stuff and then kind of like sending it back to people basically, and then yeah, what the fuck is this shit? I think that's still in the song. What's this? Those harmonies. All right, we're gonna exit out of this. Eventually, we're gonna get the Lancey session. That'll be the payoff because I actually did do everything with that. So where do we go? Okay, so next I think new drum stems. What the fuck is that? Start after intro. No, okay, that's just folders. I'm a mess. Minimalistic. I think I showed you that. New key instrumentals. Fix. Let's check this out. Actually, let's check the date on that. So that's November 17th, and then new lead vocal prod, September. Okay, so let's do this first. Okay, so then, all right. I don't know what we're about to find out. I genuinely don't know.
I'm a mess, I'm a mess, I'm a mess, but I do it with a little finesse, oh yeah.
Yeah, I think so. That was kind of a big shift. I mean, you can hear the vocal sounds nothing like it did before, and I redid the whole album around this time, and I think this was one of the ones I was trying because I just wanted to. I felt like the delivery on everything was too pop. The thing is, the songs are written pretty pop, but I just like wanted. I don't know. It's this thing of like you really want the music to live in a particular world, and you're trying to make that, and you think that's what you're making, but actually what you're making is, So it's like, and if you listen to my other EPs and stuff, you can kind of hear that. It's like I think what I'm making is basically like the melodic version of what Kanye does. Like that's what I was trying to do and what I thought I was doing. But then like what it sounds like to everybody else, and I kind of figured this out slowly, was that it was kind of sounding more like just like, you know, small level major label pop singer type shit. And if you look on Spotify, that's who they had me kind of. If you know who like Ryan Caraveo or like or Rents, who's like the homie, but like I think he would say he's like pop, and so that's what everybody was reading it as. And I really wanted to live more in the world of like, I mean, I did a song with that dude actually, but I was really trying to do stuff that I thought could kind of live in the same world as all this Kanye and Travis stuff that I was really listening to, and Post Malone or whatever. And I just was like, why does it not sound like that? And it was like, dawned on me like, oh, maybe the vocals like too clean on some of that shit, or on some of what I had been doing, and too kind of like smooth sounding. And I was just like, well, a lot of these artists they're really like, like Trippy Red I was listening to at that time. They're kind of like warbling into auto-tune, and like it's in a much higher register sometimes, which allows it to sound more smeared and stuff. So I just tried. You can literally, this is a session where I did it. I pitched up 4 half steps. You can see that, and then was just trying to re-sing it. And you can see all the attempts here. Well, actually, okay, there's not that many attempts. I think I was even like trying. Oh fuck! It crashed. Yeah. All right. We'll open it again. This is just, it's like insane. Yeah, go ahead.
In the meantime, Glass Tempo asked, do you leave MIDI on your project files, or do you always bounce stuff to audio?
Well, there's not that much MIDI to begin with. Like the drums are all audio when I do them, as you saw. The music is all live strings and shit, right? Or vocals. So it's like where I mean, the only MIDI would really be bass, and I guess I leave that MIDI usually. But I mean, but then again, remember, like this session ends up on my dude Nate's computer anyway, and he's like, so I mean, he doesn't use Logic, so I'm sending him printed stems anyway. So at some point, and then like the session I showed earlier where it was like, where I had like used his stems and then rearranged the song with them. Like, I mean, some of those probably started out as MIDI on Franz's computer or mine, and then they went to Nate in their audio, and they come back to me in their audio. So it's like it all ends up being audio at some point in the process because we're doing so much with stems and shit. So yeah, I don't know. I'd say there's not a lot of MIDI, but again, there's not a lot of much MIDI to begin with, And even on the Franz session originally, like the initial ideas were played in using like analog synths. So even then they weren't MIDI. The only thing that might have been MIDI was like the 808 and shit. I'm a mess, I'm a mess, I'm a mess, but I do it with a little finesse. So that's like harder tuned than what actually ended up on the song, but it's just yeah, I was just kind of messing around with that. So there's not much to show here, but I just wanted to kind of, and I think I will see what was going on here. I'm a mess, but I do it with a little finesse. Yeah, there's still even then being like, does it need to go up a few keys or not? And I ended up deciding to take it up there, but I was at that point I was trying to re-sing it low and just better, or like with more vibe and kind of texture and less kind of with that clean pop sound. But ended up deciding with the high one. So all right, so then yeah, this is like, I'm not really showing any secrets here. This is really just kind of showing you how I work, but there's not really much. There's very little production going on. I mean, I guess all those chopped strings. Okay, so minimalistic I showed. New key insters fixed. Wonder what that is. Let's find out. So this is like 2 months after that. I don't know what I was doing here, but. Oh yeah, this is really small, but I just didn't like how the live strings and woodwinds and stuff sounded now that the whole song had been pitched up, so I redid just some of that stuff. Interestingly, like I'm still pitching them up myself here, but I guess I just liked when I had more control versus when it was all printed to one stem. And then this stuff, which I did as MIDI this time. And this is an instrument I made. I can show you the instrument actually. And you can see I'm like, oh, interesting. I wonder if it looks like, yeah, okay, so I must have manually adjusted all these velocities because it doesn't look like I played it in live because you can see it's like too blocky with the velocities. So clearly I didn't like, like this one. Yeah, right, exactly. That one's too aggressive. Listen to the cutoff. Because this is just like Logic chopping up a piece of audio that I have. It's just like it's just like somebody playing cello staccato on some other song that I recorded. And then I just have this and you put it, I don't know if you guys use Logic, but like the new Logic is really good with just kind of organizing it. So you can see in this down here, like this is just, we'll just audition them. You see, right? So there's different samples for each note when it has them available. Those are all, 3 of those are bad, right? Those are just bad chops, right? So it's like, usually I go through and fix the instrument when I make it, but I probably just like, in this case, was just kind of like, just turn the velocity up to find the good one. It's like, you know what I mean? So this is like, when people ask for strings on a song and I can't do it, like I can't hire a musician, I usually do stuff like this, but like that one's not even staccato, But anyway, yeah, so this is So I just redid it that way. And I'm pretty sure that's what's on the final song. I mean, I maybe retracted again, but... Yeah. So just, you know, like that sounded better to me just to redo it with the samples in those keys than to try to achieve it with stuff that had already been chopped up and then being pitched up, where you just start to lose the sense of being live. Ordinarily, I'm like kind of down with the way that fucks stuff up, and in a lot of these songs, there are a lot of instances where it's like strings that have been through so much manipulation and time stretching, blah, 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 they don't even sound like strings anymore, but they kind of do, and there's something cool about that. But also, like, you got to remember, it's like my whole fucking thing is, you know, like this live instrumentation, so it is important to me a lot of times that it's like if I paid for someone to play bass clarinet, it's like I'd like you to know that, I guess, when you hear it. And I think also going to the Kanye shit again, like the way he uses his instruments, it tends to be really dry and really bright and just live sounding when those instruments are on there. He's not like doing stuff to them. So I do stuff to them too, but yeah. All right, and so then I think that kind of takes us back to, you know, so then I went into a studio and redid that vocal again, but then we were kind of, I brought it to Nate, and we were living with a version of this that was kind of like the final version, and then got this stroke of genius that I needed to get Lancey on it after I sort of encountered him through the 070 Shake Orbit. And so now, this is where he comes into the picture. So this is the first edit. I had him at the end of the song. Oh, and interestingly, I'm still, oh, that's funny as shit, actually. I'm still, even after all that, this is like a year later, maybe not a year later, 9 months later, I'm still retracking the vocal, because then I heard him on it. I'm just like, I still don't like how my vocal sounds. So now, this is actually the final vocal that's on the song, is this one here, and you can see how fucking aggressively comped and time edited and shit it is. This is because, you know, just really struggling, because I just heard his vocal on my shit. I'm just like, my shit sounds so lame by comparison. So I just look at all that shit. This is just at home, literally in the chair I'm in right now. So yeah. Yeah, you can see I started messing with having his ad libs on top of all my shit. I just thought that would help make it feel more unified. So this is a wet print from the session I recorded him in, which is, again, I don't have. It's a purple session from an engineer, but you can hear the headphone bleed. But so I like placed every single one of these, as you can see. Some of them around here I start just being like, I don't fucking care. All right, and then he comes in here. I'm a mess, yeah. I'm a mess, yeah. I'm a mess, yeah. But I do it with a... I never noticed I actually added him saying I'm a mess one more time. Originally, he just waits. I'm a mess, yeah. You see what I'm saying? Like, he does it after the beat, but the whole song I'm doing it before the beat, and I just wanted it to match that. So I literally just copied and pasted this from right here. You can see it just... Isn't that crazy? So yeah, that's not what he did. I'm a mess, yeah. I'm a mess, yeah. Works out fine. Yeah, okay. And then let's see. Oh yeah, right. So because he like tracks, there's a lot of rappers do this, rapper singers, you know, that they'll sort of go line for line, and so all the takes kind of overlap. So you can see like the lead here. I just wanted it on one track, so I could just EQ it, and I didn't do much else. But you know, I wanted to send it over as one track because I just think it's confusing as fuck to be like, here's the lead and here's also the lead. So, you know. Yeah, I'm at my best when I'm moving reckless. I know I shouldn't. You know what I mean? So even though it's different takes, I just have it all grouped together. And then, oh yeah, I did these. I mean, this is just, I don't know. I feel like this shit's maybe going out of style, but I couldn't resist all these little fucking, you know. I still ain't tired living fucked up. And so this is a preset. Again, I don't know, like, does my screen share? I'm just gonna look to see. Does it like share all the way to the, yeah, it looks like it does. Okay. So yeah, you can see over here, a ton of Valhalla. Yeah, also, by the way, if you haven't been noticing, like, I'm using stock plugins for everything. I barely own anything. I own Valhalla, I own like Waves Tune. I'm like everything else on here is Logic. Logic EQ, big of this kind of mid boost, and then the high cut to kind of get that real whoa. Sorry, that's what I just showed you. And then just some like literally just stock ass delay, reverb. And then this tremolo thing I do just kind of just like, it's just like a slow pan basically. Yeah, it's just like swirling around. And then yeah, I'm just like manually, I don't do the automation. I just like literally copy them onto a new track and I just have this saved as a preset now. So I just fucking pulled it up. It was just kind of like put those sends in. And then yeah, he's got a few of these ad-lib tracks down here. I don't know. Anything else here good? I tend to be like non-confrontational, so in the studio, it's like I'm not going to be like, "Oh, could you go back and grab that again?" Or it's like, and I don't even know what I'm looking for a lot of times when an artist like this is on a song. Like I don't know what they're going to do, and I don't know what I'm going to like of what they're going to do. So it's easier for me to just let them do it and then chop the shit up after.
I Am Dead Roses asks, "Do you need any plugins?" I have a ton for Mac.
I mean, I like when you see how fucking slow my shit's running. To be honest, it only runs slow when I'm doing the stream. Like it actually runs fine without it. But I really try to keep my laptop like extremely light, and I'm so cautious with getting too much of that shit. And whenever people send it over, it's like 50 things. But I don't know. Every once in a while, I'm like, yeah, I should probably get that. You know, I probably should get autotune, but it's just like it's like $600. Just like this is fine for what I'm doing. Like it's not. I'm not encountering any issues with Wavetune, so I just don't fucking care. You know. And it's just like $600 could be like, you know, whatever else. So clearly I'm not the person to ask, but I'm also not like, you know, again, I'm not the one finishing this stuff really, you know, so if I think of something, I'll let you know. If you had autotune free, you know, and if it was going to work cracked with Logic and shit, I'd consider that. But, you know, I should pay for it, honestly, at this point in my career. Yeah, okay, so that's all, you know, again, you can see again, this is me getting the print being like, send me the drums, send me the music, and this is again how I did it. And you can see in a couple places I did actually, like I extended this part out for his verse. But yeah, so I had him at the end of the song, and I think it actually comes after my chorus. Yeah, actually, that's not the first thing I did. I think the first thing I did was have him do it as a verse, but what he starts singing is so clearly the chorus that it felt weird having him do that after a chorus. So it ended up making more sense to have him replace one of my choruses than one of my verses, if that makes sense. And then he kind of goes into a verse at the end. So basically, it's like I just took a section of my song where it goes chorus, verse, and just put him in there instead. But this is before that. This was at the end, and then I played it for my friend Charlia. She works at Audio Mac. I should ask her. I think it's Charlia. And she was just like, I feel like the Lancey part should come in sooner. I was like, it's a good point. So that's where we end up with this final edit. It's going to take fucking 5 minutes to open. I'm a mess, Lancey.
Zone is in here too. Shout out to Zone.
What's up, man? I've been listening to our song. I want to fuck with that. I have some ideas for it. All right. So, this is great. Feel free to read out anything else. I see there's a lot of comments. You can just read everything that happens. So this is the final fucking one. And you can see he is now, you can see he's labeled. He's now right in the middle of the song. This is exactly, I mean, this is literally the final arrangement of the song. I don't know why the vocal, oh, I think I probably just saved as. So this is the same vocal comp from the other one, but yeah. I'm a mess. I'm a mess. I'm a mess. But isn't I don't hide it. I don't mind it. That's him too. I don't know why I put that there. There's just little moments where whenever there was a gap, I was like, let's put more Lancey in there. He's in the intro too. So then yeah. Am I killing it? No. But am I growing up and learning shit? Also no. I'm a mess, yeah. I'm a mess, yeah. I'm a mess, yeah. But I do it with a little finesse, yeah. I'm a mess. I'm a mess. And you can see, it's like you gotta make these decisions. And this is like, it's nice making these decisions without like fucking 80 tracks, right? Because it's like, if I was just like, oh, what if I extended here to the fill? And you can see, yeah, the fill starts a bar early, even though the music loop doesn't. You know what I mean? So I was just like, try it without the fill probably. I probably had it that way. I was like, nah, it needs the fill, and then we drag it back. You know, I can make that shit easily. And then in my case, I'm just sending it back to Nate and being like, yo, can you just match this arrangement? And I usually just go in with him to make sure he doesn't catch it and miss anything. It usually takes like 5 minutes because it's like the decisions I've made are really simple, right? It's like I didn't go into his stems and then like move one cowbell and, you know, mute a hi-hat. You know, it's just like I'm really just like every once in a while I'll be like, oh, what if I use the drums from the verse here instead? But I'm just sort of like, I'm treating it, and I guess it kind of goes to the point that dude was asking about earlier about like whether or not I'm using MIDI or not. And it's like, this is kind of a similar point, which is like, basically I'm treating these entire drums as if they've been committed. And the only thing I can really do to them is like fucking move a section to a different section or mute something or unmute it. You know what I mean? Or maybe like low
I
pass
am
it or
Dead
something.
Roses
Yeah.
subscribed at tier 1. Shout out to him. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut
Wow.
you off.
No,
You
you're
got another
good.
sub. What is that? 7 subs in one stream? That
It's
must be a
fucking
record.
crazy. It's definitely a record for me.
Droshe is here too.
What's up, man? Welcome. So yeah, and then let's see what this is. Yeah. So I guess I end up just kind of sending this stuff back to Nate, and he kind of matches it. I mean, in theory, I guess he could probably, and I think maybe in some cases he has done this, just kind of treat this as the final master session or mix session, and just be like, because he had already mixed these drums, like there is mixes they're going to be from his perspective, But you can always like do a little EQ on them. But I think in his case, he's still probably going in and kind of matching what I did. But I think the fact that what he sent me was committed rather than like we're not sending 90 stems back and forth. It's like it's macro decisions, just being like, look, we already know the drums on this work. We know this shit works. Like just print that stuff. Now I'm focusing on a vocal, and the strings, yeah, all that. So yeah, I mean that's kind of the end of the process. I mean you basically saw it from all the way to the beginning where you got that terrible vocal. It's in a different key. I'm like messing with drum ideas that have me like huffing and puffing from like DJ Mustard samples. Then I'm adding strings. Then like recorded woodwinds. Then I got to pull those in. Then the key of the song changed as I was trying to figure out the vocal. Then I got this feature, and that's kind of like, I mean, it's like again, like I'm not really showing you like that much in the way of just like how I mess with plugins because I don't really do that much that's that interesting. I guess I showed you that automation thing with the Ultra Boy, but this is just kind of showing you the actual process of how I end up with these songs because I just keep changing shit. Yep.
2 quick shout outs. I am Dead Roses gifted a sub. Shout out
Wow.
to him. It went to I am Don Vincent, another sub, and then Zone subscribed with Prime. I mean, what is that, 9? I mean, you must be beating Ninja at this point.
That's crazy. I love.
Do you know who Ninja is?
Yeah, what did he do? Was he the one that Drake went on with and they were playing like I think that's the only reason I know about him.
Shout out to Zone. Shout out to everybody.
So yeah, I don't know. I mean, any questions? I don't know that I've really given away too much interesting information here, other than that. I don't know. Is anybody surprised by any of this? Any questions about anything? Really? I guess for the remaining 20 minutes, we're gonna keep this a short one, so that we can do it regularly. Look at all these fucking. You can just see all these random things where I'm just kind of like, yeah, this ad lib doesn't work here, so I'm just gonna copy this one. Like, it is like it isn't. And then yeah, obviously really went in on his ad libs down here, but I don't know. This is all a wet print though from him. I think that was also a big thing is I was kind of conscious of the fact that especially artists that rely heavily on autotune and production, all that type of shit, that like if they like how it sounds in the studio, I don't want to risk messing with that because it's so hard to track people down and get them, and they're like, oh, I don't like it. Should I retrack it? And they're like, oh fuck, we need to book a studio and all that type of shit. So if they like how it sounds in the session, I'm generally telling the engineer to just print wet stems. So these all have the reverb, everything printed on them. It's just like everything exactly how he had it, and I'm not really doing much of anything to it. You can see I guess I did a high boost for some reason, but yeah, like I'm just trying to like leave it alone as much as I can and just make sure the arrangement flows right to my mind. So yeah. I don't know what else to talk about. I guess I could open up. Oh, wait, we'll save another song for next time. I guess I could just open up some shit I'm working on right now. That sounds terrifying. What do you think, Trevor? Does anybody say anything?
Yeah, we got 2 questions here. How do you find yourself gravitating to a specific key when you write? When is your Fortnite skin dropping? And what's a reasonable price to pay for a mix?
Well, yeah, my foreskin dropped a long time ago, so yeah. In terms of a mix, I would say, I don't know. I mean, you can get somebody to probably mix your song for like $50, you know? Like, I don't know how good a job they're gonna do, and it probably depends how complicated it is. Like, I knew a dude named Roy, he went by Spare Monkey Studio, still does, I guess. And he was in Boston, and he used to mix the Stiz stuff, and he used to mix stuff for me too. And I feel like with a lot of the rap stuff that he was doing, I mean, he was capable of doing a mix with like 50 tracks and all type of shit, but like a lot of what he was doing was just mixing like a 2 track of a beat that somebody had and then just getting the vocal and some ad libs to sound good over it, and that was the mix, you know? So it's like for that amount of shit, and so he was charging me, I think, $150 a mix. And I was giving him like, which is probably kind of high for him, I'm guessing, for what he was doing for like, because he was just working with anybody, you know, just not to, you know, like good artist, but he was, you know, he was like the guy in town. And if somebody did a session for the night and needed him to mix it, I mean, I'm sure he was probably down to do that for like 75 or something like that. I mean, I could be wrong, but he quoted me 150, and like I was giving him like fucking sessions that were like 10 times bigger than those, you know, or 20 times bigger, and he was still doing it. And he did a pretty good job, but it was like, I'm just saying, like, depending on what you need done, I mean, it could be cheaper. But I think like the stuff that I'm usually asking for is pretty involved. On the other hand, I'm not that picky about the sound of it, I guess. So, but the way I do it is the dude that this dude Nate that I keep mentioning, Nate Don Moyer. He's done a lot of cool shit as a producer, and for a while, he and I were doing sessions where we were starting new songs for my shit. And then I started being like, what if I just bring you stuff I do with different people? Because if I know a song is good, you know, like, because you know what I mean? It's like I wrote this song with Franz, right? Is it because I think Franz was like the producer it needed? Like, actually, not really. I mean, I think he's a great producer, but, you know, and I love that dude. But it's like, that wasn't the process. The reason is just because, like, Franz is somebody else who's also good at music, who's gonna like come up with some chords that day or something that's gonna inspire me, which kind of actually gets me to that first question a little bit. But I'll get there in a second. But like this dude, you know, we have a good collaborative vibe together, and then that inspired this song, and I had the title, and he had the chord progression, the tempo, and we kind of came up with this song together, you know. And then, but then it's like I still want Nate on it because I just want one person to have the whole project, and I've always kind of preferred to work that way because it's just fucking annoying as hell chasing shit down from different people and trying to get it sound unified. So Nate became the guy who like then went in and was like, I think this snare could hit harder, or like this bass is weird with, you know, so stuff that like borders on mixed stuff, and then, you know, retracking my vocals, whatever, and like, you know, maybe giving me thoughts on the direction overall. But for the most part, I would say he was like sort of mixing and producing. So he's credited as a producer on everything I do. Uh, and then along with that, he mixes. But because he's getting a percent of the song and stuff, I'm not really. It's not like we're not negotiating mix fees as much. I mean, he does get some kind of fee for all of his work, but it's like he's also getting back end on the song, so he's being treated more like a producer, and then he just mixes and masters it too. So that's how I work with that shit at this point, rather than just hiring someone entirely for the mix process. And I think that's what I'm gonna do with my next album. I've been working with my friend Jacob, who is just eager to be doing the type of shit that I want to do next, which is gonna be more like alt kind of guitar type of shit anyway. And so, I mean, everything I do, I'll probably just finish with him, and he'll just mix master, and he'll, you know, I'll throw him some money, but I'm not really gonna be negotiating that. Anyway, like on a mixed basis, you know, it'll just be kind of a production fee. But really long answer to your question. I mean, I think like at least in LA, you can get someone to do a mix that's decent if they know you don't have a lot of money. You could probably get one from someone who's like kind of decent mid tier for like 500 a song, I'd say. And then like if they're like good and you know and busy and you don't know them as well, like maybe 1,000 a mix per song, you know. And then like, you know, a proper professional, I mean, it's usually, you know, who's really good is going to be several thousand a mix at least. But I think that's kind of
All
spans
right.
the range.
Jumping in,
Yeah.
Droshe subscribed at tier 1, so shout out
Nice.
to him. A lot of commentary on the circumcision talk. People talking about, is it confirmed? How will this affect the economy? Things of that nature. So,
Oh
you know,
yeah.
we'll probably have to loop in the publicist for those conversations.
I'm Jewish and proud of it. But I will say to the other question that about the keys, I didn't answer that yet. I would say, like, I don't think. Well, first of all, it's really dumb to say this person only sings good in this key or they really like this key because, like, it just depends which notes you're doing in the key, right? It's like if you're in C major and the melody has a lot of high E's and high E's sound good for you, that's great. But then if the melody has a lot of high G's, you probably, you wouldn't want that in C major. You'd want to move it down so that there's still high E's, right? It's the high notes that matter if you're really thinking about a vocal. And then the other thing would be 808s, which also have a similar thing of like they hit better in certain keys and stuff. And if that's a factor you want to consider as well, then I mean, I'm always going to prioritize the vocal over the any element of the production, but that's another thing you could factor. But again, it's not like the 808s don't work in certain keys. It's the point is it's certain notes, and those, so no matter what key you're in, it's like you want to find those notes, which might function differently in the different keys. I know this is like really technical, but it's like, I don't know, some people are like, oh, I sing really good in F major, and it's just like, well, I mean, if the melody is hitting the right notes in F major, you do, but it may be that those notes also exist in a bunch of other keys, and you know what I mean? So that's like a short answer to that. But, I would say like the way this actually happens is usually I'm just in the studio with, uh, we come up with a chord progression first on almost everything. And then I'm just spitballing melodies over the chord progression. I'm not like, yo, can you change the key before I do melodies? I'm just doing melodies with the chord progression. And then maybe those melodies sound incredible in that key, you know, but I find them based off what I'm able to sing in that key, or maybe I find a great melody and then I'm like, yo, I feel like this whole thing should be higher. And usually partway through the session, there's a moment where it's just like, yo, can we put this up like 3 half steps? Or, in my case, that's usually it, because I just tend to sing, like, obviously my speaking voice is super low. So it's like I tend to sing in a kind of comfortable low register. But like you saw with I'm a Mess, it's like I thought the sound of that vocal would be better in like this sort of more strained part of my voice, basically. And so I pushed it up to like force myself to do that, and that was a decision much further down the process, which maybe fucked up the 808s for a moment, or I guess they weren't really in the song, but like it is like a factor that then affects other shit. But it's like I just feel like you have to do the vocal no matter what as the priority. So yeah, I'd say like a good number of the songs on my album probably changed key at some point. Actually, I don't know if that's true, but definitely a good number of the songs I work on in general. At some point I'm just kind of like, is this the best key for the vocal? And I'm going to try a few different options before I kind of lock into one. So yeah, that's how I decide. But I don't start out looking for something that I don't think about the key when I start out. I just play in whatever key I'm in, or they play in whatever key they're in, and that's just kind of where we're at. Other questions? I'll try to find a session. Maybe next week I'll do You Up, which is one where I actually did produce the entire music of that show, so I can pull up. I think I did a TikTok on it a while ago, but I'll pull it up and I'll show you kind of everything that's in that song, because that one I actually have the drums in there too. But inevitably, it's like this. It's like at some point I probably took it to Nate, and Nate was just like, "This snare could be better," and replaced it. So it's like, and you guys might actually hear this shit better than I do and be able to be like, "No, that's not the hat that's in the final song," or whatever. But to me, it's just like, I don't know. There's just like, I'm not fundamentally a producer. Like I'm fundamentally an artist and like a string arranger. So it's like, I could tell you a lot of shit about the strings and stuff. Like if somebody wants to put in a better snare, like 99 times out of 100, I'm just going to be like, sounds good. Great. Whatever. Like, I just don't fucking care. I care that it's good, but it's just not like, of all the things I could be doing with my time, for me personally, going through like 100 snares and picking one isn't the best use of my time. But I think that's like the difference between being an artist and a producer, really. Like, I think if you're a producer, you really probably should care about that shit, and you should get good at mixing, and you probably should own plugins that are good that aren't like this stuff. But like, I'm just trying to get a good song, good lyrics, good melody, good tempo, and then I'm gonna do the strings, make sure that shit's cool, and then that's that. And then I gotta spend like 5 times that amount of time thinking about like the music videos and the fucking Instagram and all that, the live show, all the type of shit. So it's just like, it is just kind of, I guess there's artists that are really big producer, like nerds, like maybe James Blake or somebody like that really does go deep in all that shit. But I don't know. Hey, it's the time to do it. I feel like I never have enough time. 5 more minutes. Is anybody saying anything?
Zone asks, what kind of Amari are we drinking on Thursday? Does he mean Amaro?
Mari's plural of Amaro.
Really? Oh, holy shit. He showed me. Okay. I learned something.
We have a case of Cynar, Cynar, which is it's actually not a full case. They like took some out because I didn't want a case. I wanted 7 bottles. Case is 12. That'll be the focus. I'm making a drink that was the first drink that really got me into cocktails, that really got me into Amaro, and this was a Chinar and gin sour that was made at a bar in New Haven, Connecticut called 116 Crown. And this is my like slightly bootleg variation on his drink. I'm just using like a more down the middle gin than what he used, and he used like a weird type of sugar and shit. But yeah, so Chinar is great. It's like probably the easiest Amaro to find, excluding Campari, Fernet, and like Jägermeister. But it's made by Campari. It's got an artichoke on the front. I fucking love it. It's a great gateway into that shit. So I just figured that, and also just a lot of the other ones, it's like you never know when they're gonna have them. So and this is just pretty ubiquitous. So I was just like, if I'm gonna have to buy a lot of it, and like I said, it's a drink that I know is a crowd pleaser, but still use that. But I'm gonna have a bottle of it handy too, so that people want to try it by itself can kind of like do that, because how could I not? And then I got a ton of orange bitters, and I'm making this other drink that's not even an Amaro drink. It's like I'm making like a Jameson sour with a ton of orange bitters. So nothing too crazy there, but I'm gonna try to make it special in my own way. Just get the proportions right and really hammer that orange peel flavor. And but yeah, so the big limiting factor was my friend. My friend works at Pernod Ricard, which is one of the big liquor distributor or companies in the world. And so she was just telling me what stuff I could get from them. And like they have an Amaro type product called Foux, which is French, and I think they have like Ramazzotti, which is an Italian Amaro. But I don't need like 12 of those. Like you need 12 of a base spirit. So the base spirit was going to be something like it was going to be rum, whiskey, cognac, gin, tequila, vodka. It was like it was going to be one of those, right, for each drink. And that's where the volume of the drink is really coming from. So that was the easiest way to save money. I was just like, yeah, if we can get Jameson and Beefeater gin, I mean, that's like a good start. And then I just sort of work backwards from there. But yeah, I probably could have done more Amaro in the second one, but next time.
A couple more questions. Ben Blank says he's going to drink a Moscow Mule in spite of Johan tonight.
It's fine. Just weak. Anderson .Paak fucking loves those. Or actually, he does a lot of mezcal mules. That's his thing. What are you going to say?
And says, talk about your new bartending license and the test. And then I Am Dead Roses asks when your birthday is.
Birthday's February 1st. Yeah. So I mean, yeah, this has been like a real. Nothing is simple, It's just like the same as the snare drum. It's just kind of like to really do it. It's like there's so much detail that goes into it. I decided I was going to really fucking do the drinks. I wasn't going to hire somebody to do it, So and I'm going to do it better than I think a lot of people would. And, I'm saving a little bit of money and I enjoy it. But it is just like there's so many fucking things you have to think about. It's like, okay, how are we transporting it? All right, so we need 2 10-gallon coolers. Those are each like $80, So I got the coolers, right? Like we're going to need ice there so I can stir the drinks. We're going to need stirring spoons to stir them. You're going to need ice shovels to get the ice from the ice into the drink without like using your hands like a fucking slop. It's just like there's so much shit I had to like think about. And then I don't want to pour the drink from a giant cooler into people's glass, like a fucking like it's Gatorade, So I like got these like sort of big water pitcher sort of carafe glasses, to do that. And anyway, so I forget why I was talking about that, but yeah, I just I don't know. It's like the drinks are simple, you know what I mean? Like because like once I was starting to look at everything I was gonna have to fucking do, I was like, all right, let's just do this in a way that it's gonna be pretty foolproof, that everyone's gonna love. I'm only making 2 drinks basically, and then I'll have a couple of the ingredients there to try. So it's like they should be crowd pleasers, I'm not gonna make the weird shit if there's gonna be 100 people there, So. But you'll be able to try the Chinar. That's my big thing. Go ahead.
What was the drink that got you into Amaro and cocktails in general?
Oh, I just said, yeah. I mean, it was this Chinar gin sour. They used a gin aged in rye bottles. 116 Crown in New Haven, Connecticut. John Ginetti. He called it the Chinar meets gin, but he spelled gin with 2 N's because that's his last name, Ginetti. And yeah, and then I got a friend of mine had a bottle of Chinar at his house that he'd been gifted, and I saw it. And I was like, oh, that's that shit from that drink I like. And he's like, yeah, I don't really like it, but you should try it. I was like, all right, cool. I was like, oh, it's just pretty good by itself. That was the start. And it took a while to get into a lot of the other ones, like because there's a lot of them to this day that I don't love, and some of them are the more common ones. So I think I had to get over that hurdle and find the really good shit that's like kind of obscure, but just fire. Final questions, thoughts? We'll do this. Maybe we'll just make this a weekly thing. I don't know what I'm doing next Monday, but we can discuss and announce something on
Yeah.
Wednesday. Yeah, that should work.
Yeah, production breakdown every Monday.
All right, sure.
Or at some point every week. TBD.
Yeah, let's do Monday.
Yeah. Ben Blank says, let's go. Angie says, okay, bye, King. Zone says, peace, y'all. Dre says, later, everyone. Peace, Trev. I think that's it. Oh, we should plug everything. You should plug.
Yeah, please, if you're in New York or if you have friends that are in New York, just tell them to come to this show on the 24th and support me and Eli. Like, it's going to be a great show. I'm gonna go crazy with the live instrumentation stuff. I'm going to lose a lot of money on it, and I'm going to sell some T-shirts and make like $5 back. But I would love to see you guys if people are in New York. Obviously, if you're in LA, I got the thing this Thursday, which will be fun, and I'm going to make drinks. But yeah, definitely the 24th. In New York at the Knitting Factory. Please just get anybody you can to come to that and support me. It'd be amazing.
Do the TikTok duet contest too.
Oh, yeah.
That's our third iteration of the contest. It's on TikTok. Make sure that you use the appropriate sound so that we can actually see your submission. And if you don't use the sound, either send it to Angie or I, and we'll make sure it's tagged. But preferably use the sound so it actually shows up when you visit like the TikTok sound page.
Yeah.
You got the album release party single on the 10th. Show up to that if you're in LA. He's slanging cocktails, obviously, what we've been talking about for the last hour.
Yeah.
What else can we plug? Do you want to mention anything about the single?
Yeah, we're actually pushing it back a week because the distro fucked it up. But yeah, it'll be the 18th.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's not your fault. Yeah, so it'll be a week from Friday. But it's Get My Shit Together featuring 1000 Band Fonny. You guys know him probably as a SoundCloud rapper extraordinaire, singer. He's incredible. We got a video. I guess let's tease it Wednesday maybe. We'll play.
Yeah.
Some of you probably heard it, but we'll play it again Wednesday. So thanks for being here, y'all. I really appreciate it. And
Awesome.
yeah.
Thanks, everybody.
Fire.